name is Julia, and I'm an environmental educator here at Osprey Wilds. And today, as you can see, I have a special guest with me, and he is an American kestrel, and we call him Gibwanasii. Now, a little bit about our birds before we get started and learn more about Gibs here. All of our birds have been deemed non-releasable to the wild due to some sort of physical or sometimes mental injury. So they would not do well if they were to be re-released into the wild. So that's why they're here with us today, and they serve as excellent ambassadors for their species as education animals so that we can learn more about them. So like I said, this is Gibwanasii, or Gibs for short, and Gibwanasii actually comes from an Ojibwe term that is used to define a type of raptor or a bird of prey. So he's aptly named. And a little bit about Gibs and where he came from. He was hatched in 2011 in northern Utah, and he actually flew into a construction site with people, and the people there kept him for some time. They thought they were doing their best in taking care of him, and he was eventually surrendered in 2012 to a rehab facility in Utah. And they found out there that Gibs is what we call a human imprint. So that is a really remarkable phenomenon in which animals actually bond with the type of animal that they were around at their birth. And so in this case for Gibs, it was humans. So because he was raised by humans at such a young age, he doesn't really know what he is. He doesn't really know that he is a kestrel. So if he were to be re-released, he would not do well. So that's why after he was rehabbed in Utah, he came here to live with us as an education bird. The American kestrels, they're part of the falcon family, and falcons have a wide variety of adaptations or characteristics. So right now we're actually getting a little mating dance from Gibs. We might get a vocalization too. There we go. So that was actually his mating dance. So American kestrels are currently in their breeding season. It depends on the geographic range, but in northern states like Minnesota, generally their breeding season runs from mid-April to mid-June. Gibs is actually a male American kestrel. And male and female American kestrels actually look different from one another, and in science we call this sexual dimorphism. So I'm going to turn Gibs a little bit just so you can see the coloration on his wings, but you'll notice that he has some bluish gray on his wings, and he also has that coloration on his head along with the brown and kind of orangish brown, white, and black on his chest. The female kestrels will actually, they won't have all of that blue-gray on their back. They'll mostly be that brownish-orange color. So you can actually tell the difference between them. So Gibs is a male. So like I said, Gibs is part of the falcon family, and falcons have a wide variety of adaptations or traits that help them to survive, that help them hunt really well. So some things that Gibs has that we'll show in some pictures beside me so you can get a better visual of it. One of the things we can actually see from here, on his face you'll notice that there is a black stripe that's going down over his eye. And that stripe actually has a function. It's called a Malar Stripe, and if you've ever seen baseball players or football players that will paint black underneath their eyes, that helps with the sun's glare while football players are playing. And for Gibs, he's diurnal, which means he's hunting and active during the day. So it's like a pair of sunglasses for him to deflect the sunlight so that he can see better when he's hunting. Another adaptation that kestrels and falcons in general have is what's called a Tomial Tooth, and that's a little notch in their beak that helps them grasp onto their prey. That little notch actually lines up perfectly with their prey's backbone so that they can snap it while in flight and go for a swift kill. Probably my favorite falcon adaptation is something in their nose. So if you think of the peregrine falcon, they're actually the fastest animal in the animal kingdom, and they can dive at speeds of up to 240 miles per hour. American kestrels will also dive just at much lower speeds. Now, if you imagine diving at such a high speed, it's going to be really hard to breathe, right? So falcons have an adaptation that helps combat that, and it's called a Nare Baffle. So inside their nose is a little cone, and that actually helps deflect the high-speed winds that are coming in when they're diving, and it allows them to breathe normally. And the cool thing about that adaptation is that it actually inspired the design of a jet plane engine that we see today. So if you look at a jet plane's engine, you'll notice a cone in the center of that. And that also deflects the high air speeds coming in so that the engine doesn't choke or stall. Another adaptation that American kestrels have and other falcons do is a long middle toe on both of their talons, and that really helps them grasp onto their prey. And American kestrels are really good at actually eating while they're flying, so it's like the original fast food. Now, what do American kestrels eat? Well, they're mostly eating fast-moving prey, so a lot of their diet is made up of insects like dragonflies and grasshoppers, and they'll also eat small mammals like mice, or small birds. So they're really well adapted to swift flight and moving quickly through the air so that they can catch those things. One of their favorite foods is actually dragonflies, and scientists have found that the American kestrel migration actually correlates with dragonfly movement, especially a specific dragonfly called the green darner. Now, American kestrels, especially American kestrels in the north, like here in Minnesota, they'll migrate during the winter in order to find the food that they need, mainly insects. But some American kestrels in the southern United States won't actually migrate and they'll stay put. So American kestrels here in Minnesota, they'll move slightly south in the winter to find their food. Well, we hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about American kestrels today, and a special thank you to our spectacular guest, Gibs, here. From all of us here at Osprey Wilds, we wish you well and hope you have a great day. Bye.